Jones, and I'm a radio and television host based in Austin, Texas. And for many years, I've been exposing the criminal activities of the global elite, also known as the New World Order. In past films, we've documented the centralization of power, the move towards world government, the attack on the nation state, self-defense, the Second Amendment, family values, that is, the family itself, as well as private property rights. But time and time again in my research, I come, well, eye to eye with something that's even hard for me to believe. And that's that the elite, again, the so-called establishment kings, those that know best, the visions of the anointed ones, are obsessed with the occult, from presidents to governors to the heads of industry. We've all seen the stories of presidents and first ladies obsessed with their astrologers, making national policy decisions upon their recommendations. Spiritual guides, shamans in the White House. My friends, it gets far worse than that. Now, I personally am a Christian, but even an atheist should be concerned about the information we're about to bring forward in this new documentary film, The Dark Secrets Inside Bohemian Grove. You see, for over 120-plus years in Northern California, in Sonoma County, on a 2,700-acre secluded redwood grove, leaders from around the world, prime ministers, chancellors, presidents, governors, again, the heads of industry, banking, academia, the media, Hollywood, only a select few, a little over 2,000 people, travel there to engage in bizarre, ancient Canaanite, Luciferian, Babylon mystery religion ceremonies. At least that was the rumors. And so I went to the library and got on the internet and saw many of the mainstream news articles admitting that world leaders do indeed go there, and they fly into San Francisco and other surrounding cities and drive out into the rural hills and mountains of Northern California, and that these stories have been coming out that they worship some 45-foot stone owl god. And then I began to read some of the documentation on this Moloch character of the Old Testament, mentioned many times in Leviticus. That's in the Bible. Why are world leaders traveling to the middle of nowhere to worship this thing? Well, I had to check it out for myself. And I'm proud of my team. Mike Hansen, Violet Nichols. They traveled with me there. We talked to some of the locals discreetly. We successfully infiltrated, with the help of some of the locals and Channel 4, World of Wonder, British television that teamed up with us. And I successfully infiltrated through the Secret Service, through the guards, through the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department. We were inside 4 hours. That's only one day out of the 2 weeks that they...
The Bohemian Club, as it's known today, was founded in 1873 in San Francisco in Northern California. Many of the club's original annals, dating back to before the turn of the century, admit that local artists, writers, newspapermen, you name it, wanted a place away from the so-called backwardsness of the West Coast, the Judeo-Christian ethic. They found that place an hour and a half north of San Francisco, outside of the tiny town of Monterrey. Their annals even admit an obsession with the occult and what they called Druid rituals. Amongst the great redwood trees, they revived ancient ceremonies that in truth had their roots not in the Druids, but in Babylon itself on the West Coast. By the turn of the century, there was already a 10 to 15-year waiting list. Presidents from Howard Taft to Herbert Hoover were on the membership roster. Not to mention, later, famous war general Dwight D. Eisenhower, later to become president. The roster of the Bohemian Club reads like a who's who of the elite. Look at this photo taken inside the Grove back in 1963. There you'll see Ronald Reagan, and sitting 2 people over from him, later to become president, Richard Milhouse Nixon. Frankly, we don't know if these men actively enjoy the things that go on inside the Bohemian Club. But one thing is perfectly certain from the evidence. They are forced to go and attend and take part in these activities if they wish to be elevated to the highest levels of the geopolitical power structure. Take George Bush Sr., documented member. And then, of course, there's his son, Now, the last 4 generations of Bushes have also attended the Skull and Bones Society at Yale, well known to be steeped in the occult. Then there's Bill Clinton, a frequent attendee. Upon closer inspection, the entire federal government at the highest levels is infested with Bohemian Club members. And it doesn't stop there. America's private run-for-profit Federal Reserve Bank, from its very inception in 1913, has been run by prominent members of the Bohemian Club. Central Bank Chairman Alan Greenspan was seen leaving the Bohemian Grove only 1 month before he was appointed chairman of the Federal Reserve. He had to be a made man, to be a member of the most powerful cabal on the planet. Historical records are clear from major universities. The Manhattan Project was planned and instituted and run from the Bohemian Club. All of this going on in an atmosphere of bizarre.
Ahí vimos un poco cómo se infiltró este periodista con muchos preparativos para firmar el material que le vamos a entregar. Y también en la Biblia, en el libro de Levíticos, capítulo 18, versículo 21, nos hablaba justamente de que a Dios no le agrada este asunto de los sacrificios a los ídolos, diciendo así acerca de Moloch, que es lo que van a realizar estos hombres. Dice, versículo 21, y no des tus hijos para ofrecerlo por fuego a Moloch, no contaminéis así el nombre de tu Dios, yo Jehová. Ahí está en la escritura, hablando de que Dios no aprueba ningún sacrificio en fuego, como están haciendo los preparativos acá en este bosque del Bohemian Grove. Vamos a seguir viendo en la Biblia este asunto de que las aves que no aprueba Dios, por ejemplo el búho que estamos viendo del Bohemian Grove, sale acá, y el águila salen acá en lo que es la palabra de Dios como animales inmundos, animales aborrecibles, y que son justamente lo que usan estas sociedades para hacer sus ritos. Dice en el versículo 13 de Levíticos 11 lo siguiente, y de las aves, estas tendréis en abominación, no se comerán, serán abominación el águila, el quebrantahuesos, el azor. Y ahí empieza a enumerar los tipos de ave que son inmundas, que son abominación. Por eso no es extraño que en el billete de $1 aparezca justamente el águila, que es un símbolo de un animal, de un ave inmunda que Dios no aprueba. Y en el versículo que le sigue, en el versículo 17, hablando de las aves, dice el búho, el somorbujo y el ibis. Y ahí nombra también, aparte del águila, nombra también el búho, que es este animal que están venerando estos hombres en el Bohemian Grove, que es lo que vamos a seguir viendo, cómo se practican todos estos ritos de los presidentes, de los magnates, de la gente rica de este planeta, como decía la profecía, que se iba a unir con las hechicerías de Babilonia en el capítulo 18, que es lo que estamos viendo. Vamos a ver un poquito más.
Oh tú, aquí te has transportado a través de la marea oscura, en toda la antigua majestad de la muerte, agobiado, enemigo ardiente de la belleza. Traigan el fuego. Donde yo reino, tontos y sacerdotes, escupo sobre su fuego. Oh búho, príncipe de toda sabiduría mortal, búho de Bohemia, te imploramos, concédenos tu concilio. Oh gran búho de Bohemia, te damos gracias por tu adoración. Que viva la llama eterna de confraternidad. Una vez más, medio verano nos libera.
A deep occultist who designed each of the elements of this ceremony. It wasn't just a bunch of guys sit together at a bar and said, hey, let's have a good time, the cremation of care, and why don't we do this or that. I believe it was purposely designed, each element in its turn, for what they did. No doubt about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Dark Secrets inside Bohemian Grove. The facts we've shown in this film are absolutely documented. I would only hope that the people of the world realize the organized evil we're dealing with at almost every level. Ladies and gentlemen, it's called world government, the New World Order, dehumanization. It's not a joke. It's deadly serious. Unfortunately, they've been breeding societies to think everything's a joke. I'm here to tell you truth is stranger than fiction.
Este asunto de la idolatría de la gente, de la élite, de los políticos, de los reyes, no es nuevo. Ya la Escritura nos muestra justamente cómo el pueblo de Israel también era idólatra y muchas veces apartado del camino, pero quienes lo hacían eran justamente la clase alta, justamente los reyes o los príncipes. Acá sale, por ejemplo, hablando de Israel, en el capítulo 2 del libro de Jeremías, versículo 26 en adelante, dice lo siguiente: ¿Cómo se avergüenza el ladrón cuando es descubierto? Así se avergonzará la casa de Israel, sus reyes, sus príncipes, sus sacerdotes y sus profetas. Noten cómo acá era lo mismo que está sucediendo ahora: los reyes, los príncipes, los sacerdotes, la gente encumbrada, la gente importante, yendo a la apostasía. Y sigue diciendo, que le dicen al leño, mi padre eres tú, y a una piedra tú me has engendrado, porque me volvieron la cerviz y no el rostro, y en el tiempo de su calamidad dicen, levántate y líbranos. Noten cómo ellos ponen su confianza en la piedra, en el leño, y después le piden que los libre, asimismo como las personas hoy en día ponen sus esperanzas en ídolos de dioses paganos que nada ayudan. Dice, ¿y dónde están tus dioses que hiciste para ti? Pregunta. Levántense ellos a ver si te podrán librar en el tiempo de tu aflicción. Porque según el número de tus ciudades, oh Judá, fueron así tus dioses. Fue una cantidad inmensa la idolatría. Para corroborar